Hello all, Ritvik here. Hope you guys are doing great. I'm a self-taught developer and a generalist designer. As you might have guessed from the thumbnail, today I'll be talking about Git and the most basic questions asked about it during an interview. Additionally, I also provide links and resources which might help you during the interview and answering the Git questions. It should also solve your queries regarding Git and solve the complexities involving it. So without any further ado, let's get started. Now, the very first question, what is Git? Git is a source code management system which is used to commit changes and track the programmer's progress throughout the product lifecycle management. What is a version control system then? It is basically a track for the versions developed during the product lifecycle. Okay, now we have answered that. Then how many types of version control system are there? There are three basic types of version control systems: a local, a centralized, and a distributed one. The local version control system maintains, tracks files within the local system. Taking an example, suppose you have a file in your system and you want some minor changes or to upgrade it. So you have the local system set up. Generally, it is not advisable and is avoided. The centralized VCS, or also known as SVM, it is usually a relationship between a server and a client, where data is sent from the client to the server and data is communicated and uploaded through it. Generally, you require internet connection for this type of service, which is not advisable. Now comes the distributed version control system, basically Git. Generally, you have a system setup in which you commit to the files and changes are made accordingly. It is different from other version control systems in which a repository is maintained and a .git file is generated. Now the question arises, how do I use Git? For that, let's go to the node base.
Okay, overachiever, I'll handle the technical stuff. So here we are in the command line or the terminal for Mac. I will create a directory named test1. To make you understand the basic Git commands, I'll create a sample file named random.txt, which will have some contents like hello world, the basic genre of computing, send to the random text. Now we have a file set up in the test1 directory. If I see, wait a minute, I generated it in the common file. Stop recording. Anyways, I'll just move the file from there and delete and it's a go. Yes. If I go back to my test one, I should have the file name random.txt and it should have the content name hello world. Okay, so now initialize the Git repository using the git init command. As you can see from here, it is initialized with the .git file. Now, okay, so I have the file set up. I want to add it to the staging area in Git. So I'll use the command git add and the file name random.txt. Now, using the git status command, I'll check what is in the master branch. As you can see, there is this random file.txt in the staging area. We will use the git commit command. Basically, it logs the file. It logs the commit to the file. So I'll say added hello world text. Now a file change is made and a snapshot of it is taken. If I use the git log command, a commit ID is created with my use. Now suppose if I add another file named random.to.txt with the command as hello random2 and append it to the random.to.txt and using that we can see using git status we can see there is a file which has not been tracked yet, so we will add it to the base. Again, git add random2.txt. These were some basic commands from adding a file, just adding it to staging area. If you want to remove the file from staging area, as in, or simply we use git reset command to check and we have the file back, not back being untracked. Some commands like get clone, get push, get fetch, and get merge are basically incorporated with GitHub, which is a client for managing the Git. You have several other clients like Bitbucket and GitLab and GitHub. The popular one is GitHub. Usually it is used. Now, suppose if we have a Git setup, let me just sneaky. Now, if we have a Git client setup, like GitHub in my case, we can have a repository being linked, or we can clone the repository from GitHub. In case I'll clone my repository using the git clone command and the URL which I have in here. Sorry, this one, and copy it. That it will clone into my test one since it is in test one. Okay, so done. If I open the CD factor work file, and if I make some changes to the, so suppose let's say that let's say a readme file, and suppose I have made some changes to the readme file, like let's go in here, and I remove this formatting style, and then I will update the readme and commit. Changes are committed. Now using the git merge or git fetch command, I'll see my master branch and the current branch in my local repository is linked. See, it has been linked. There are several more commands like get remote. If you have any repository to set up, suppose you create a new repository, in let's say you will be provided with another link. And a new repository. Using some random name, you can create a repository and it will be created. A link will be provided. Allow test. Create repository. Using the get remote and the URL provided, you can set up your local branch as well. That's it from the nerd side. You can contact the overachiever again.
The third question. Explain the purpose of branching and its types. This is the basic Git interview question. In Git, branching is done to allow the user to create its own branch and toggle between those branches. A branch is basically a feature or a meant to be feature for the product you are developing or the file or the repo you have. It allows the user to switch between the branches and keep the current work in sync without disturbing the master branch. There are three types of branching: feature branching, task branching, and release branching. Feature branching keeps all the changes in the branch when the feature is completely tested and validated and is ready to merge into master. Task branching includes its own branch and with the task key included in branch name. Release branching, it develops the branch acquires enough feature for a release. The user can clone that branch to form a releasing branch. Now, the fourth question. How do you resolve a conflict in Git? For that, I'll call the nodebase again. Back to you, nodebase.
Now, there is a major difference between Git and GitHub. GitHub, as I said, is a client, and Git is the version or the SCM, source code management system. Now, what is a GitHub workflow? GitHub workflow is basically you have a master branch involved, in which it's using the branching techniques. You create another branch, which can be a feature, a task, or a release branch. You add some commits as I did before, and you create a pull request. A pull request is generally created through the website, or you can use a desktop client as well. Or currently, GitHub has uploaded a Git CLI thing in which you can use the GitHub commands through the command line itself. So create the pull request. Pull request basically compares the current repository and the repository master branch you have. So a main master branch is compared with the feature. You provide additional details with the pull request you have created, and according to the CI or the CD development tools, deployment occurs. Now a probot is already deployed for it to check whether the commits you have made or the changes you have made pass the required tests. so that no conflicts arise within the master branch and no errors are made in the master branch. So if the conflicts arise, you have to solve them accordingly, and then you will be able to merge it back to the master branch, and the release cycle will proceed as on. That's it. Overachiever. Oh wait, overachiever. I forgot to add the essential sites. So here are the practice sites which you can use. Learn gitbranching.js.org, which basically helps you understand Git in an interactive format and helps you practice it on a regular basis. So suppose we take a branching Git example. You can see in an interactive form, you have some basic instructions, and this creates a new branch using the git branch command, and you commit essentially, and you have some interactive images as well to show the process of how it happens. You can check it out as well. Next is the GitHub guides. Of course, you need to understand the basics of Git again in case if you're not clear. So GitHub has already guides.github.com. You can find all the relevant materials provided and being used in GitHub. This in a very step-by-step format, and in case questions arise or mishaps arise, you need to be able to solve them. So here is an amazing resource which I found. It basically helps you solve all those errors which you might or might not have. So dangitgit.com is another essential resource which you must read in order to attain the sufficient knowledge for the interview. That's it. You can continue.
So these were the 4 most basic questions asked about Git during an interview. Additionally, as I said prior, I'll provide some links as well. So nowadays I has already provided the video. Go check it out. The links will be in the description. Do check it out. Also, an additional cheat sheet is provided in the description. If you want, you can check it out. That's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you get an insight on how and which questions are asked during an interview revolving around Git. Thank you. I'm signing off. I forgot to tell you one thing. If you do find it useful, share it with your friends.